Return of the Obra Dinn is a puzzle game that was developed by Lucas Pope, the developer of the well-known Papers, Please. You play as an investigator for the East India Trading Company who has been sent to discover what happened on the trading vessel the Obra Dinn. It is a unique puzzle experience that is paired with smooth gameplay. The player's goal is to identify the name and cause of death of all of the crew of the Obra Dinn. To figure out which body belongs to which person and their grisly demise, you are given a magical pocket watch that allows you to see the moment when a person dies. When you view a corpse, you are given a short snippet of dialogue and can then examine the scene surrounding that person's demise. With the dialogue and the scene, the player is expected to identify all 51 crew members. The game certainly did not hold the player's hand either, as there were no hints and few name drops in the dialogue. Return of the Obra Dinn was definitely the best puzzle game I've played this year. You really had to play the investigator in each scene, paying attention to small details and tracking the movement of people across multiple scenes to discover what was really going on. On top of that, the game had a great way of preventing random guesswork while giving the player enough feedback. Whatever the player decided was the name and fate of a crew member would only be confirmed if 3 people were identified correctly at the same time. That meant that a player could not cheat the system by choosing random names, while at the same time, you consistently got feedback as to whether or not your guesses were correct. By having this verification system, Return of the Obra Dinn forced the player to actually investigate, rather than just gaming the system. There was also enough information given to the player to work out who was who with very little direct naming of individuals. You really had to deduce based on who people were with, what they were doing, and even on a couple of occasions their naval uniforms. I never found myself making uneducated guesses, and the guesswork that was done usually happened when I had narrowed down someone to 1 or 2 people. In other words, Return of the Obra Dinn is an investigation puzzle game where you actually investigate. It was pretty good. Aesthetically, this game was quite nice. It has a retro old-timey feel that fits both the setting and gameplay. The former worked because the grainy texture gave everything a feeling of age, as if it had been from a bygone era. That really built the mystique of the ship itself. In terms of the gameplay, the visuals gave enough information to deduce whatever the player needed to discover, while being vague enough to give everything an almost dreamlike ambiance. Given that the player's entire goal is to explore the past, I felt that the lack of detail fit very nicely. The art in Return of the Obra Dinn was spot on for the game itself, neither being too detailed nor too retro. The main draw of this game is definitely the brilliant gameplay, as the story is weak and vaguely portrayed. Now, there is a story to the game, but by giving it to the player in small vignettes, much of the causal relation was lost. I knew the who, what, when, and where, but missed all the important why. Kind of like most of Lovecraft's stories, the narrative was given in such a vague manner that you were left with nothing but a somewhat garbled sequence of events. Now, don't get me wrong, I really liked how the story was told. Between the vignettes, investigation, and the fact that most of the story was told in reverse, Return of the Obra Dinn made following the story compelling and tied it in with the gameplay as the player needed to deduce who did what. However, more information needed to be given to the player as to the motives behind various actions. Most of the significance of a story lies in why a character would make various choices. With that knowledge, the Obra Dinn story fell flat. Overall, Return of the Obra Dinn is a beautifully crafted puzzle game. It is a must-buy. While the story was lackluster, that did not overly detract from the novel gameplay. Had the developer given the player a bit more of an idea of what was occurring and why the characters made the choices that they did, then it would have been that one step better. However, the exceptional investigatory gameplay and mysterious aesthetics worked together to make a brilliant game that I would play again, if only I didn't already know all the answers. Do not wait to pick this up, get it now, it's definitely worth the money. With that, thanks for watching and, as always, enjoy the rest of your day.